All right, folks, listen up. Haley, you're on tape. All right, now. I post these on YouTube, you know. Just saying. I do. Yeah. Okay. For these foldable activities, you're going to need scissors, glue sticks, and crayons if you want to color it, because I did not print them in color. I'm going to start with the one called rotation versus revolution. This is very similar to the gravity one that we did before. You will cut out the entire solid line rectangle around the edge. You can leave the rotation versus revolution at the top if you'd like. All right. So cut that out, and then you're going to put this on a sheet of cardstock, just like you did last time. And you will make these into little doors, and underneath the doors, you will answer the questions. So number one, or I guess in the upper left corner, it says, describe rotation in your own words. Does that mean go into the book and copy the definition? No, that's not what that means. Don't be a little smart, Alex, all right? I will let you know. So the first step is making it look like this. All right. Now you're going to cut up through the center, across this center here, and across this at the top to the dashed lines. The dashed lines where you're going to fold it, okay? So cut it straight up the middle. You know where extras are. Trying to mess up again. I didn't make that many copies. So now it looks like this, okay? Like the little guy can walk on his two legs. All right? No. Oh, you didn't leave this at the top? Okay, yeah, you're going to cut all the way through the top then. You'll end up with two pieces. It's just when you glue everything together, it's just going to be, you're going to have to make sure that you stick it together. Then cut across the side. So now you cut his legs apart at the knee. I don't know, that's mean. But now, well, maybe we just want to say, oh, look, our guy has knees, he can bend. See, look, he can kneel down, and then he can run. Just wait. We'll glue it in a minute. Yes, sir. Yes, just a moment. All right, then you're going to cut across the top. Well, I left my title. If you didn't leave the title, you've already cut it. All right, so now mine looks like this. All right, I've cut it at his hips now too. All right, now he can sit down and bend his knees over the chair. I don't know. Anyway, all right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it at the dashed line, because that's going to tell me where the glue goes, because the glue is going to go on that little skinny part there. So I'm going to put glue on this skinny part right here. I'm going to put glue on the title, which some of you didn't leave on, so that won't be a problem for you. And then I'm going to fold it on the other side, and it's going to get glue on that side too. So now it looks sort of weird like that, okay? So I'm going to take my glue stick, and I'm going to put my paper upside down. And I am going to glue along that skinny edge on each side. The top where the title is, some of you don't have that because you didn't leave it on. And then the skinny edge on the other side. And I'm going to take my piece of cardstock. And I'm going to glue it down. So I'm going to start with the title. I'm going to press it down. And then take the edge on this side and press it down. And the edge on this side and press it down. And now I have this glued together with these little doorways that open up. Okay? Make sure you have enough glue. Some of these got turned in when we did the gravity one, and they were sort of falling apart. So make sure you get enough glue on there so it sticks. Now, the next thing that you'll do, the first window says describe rotation in your own words. So you'll open it up and you will write what rotation is in your own words. Okay? Upper right-hand side says describe revolution in your own words. So you will open that up and you will write underneath describe revolution in your own words. Then underneath, bottom left, says how long does it take for the Earth to make one full rotation? Seriously, my 6 and 8-year-old know this. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. All right. It is in the packet that you have. However, if you don't know it, look it up. But it's not like you haven't been raised looking at a clock for all these years. You know what I'm saying? And then the other one says, how long does it take for the Earth to make one full revolution around the sun? Same thing. Again, we learned this. All right. So put your answers there. You'll put your name on this somewhere, at bottom or top. It doesn't matter to me. Period 1. And you may turn these in the homework bin. All right. This one's going to be worth 5 points. 1 for putting it together correctly, and then 1 point each for answering the questions. And again, the questions are very simple questions. No. All right. The second one. Again, you'll need 1 piece of cardstock. Ryan, cupboard over there, middle shelf. So this one, there's 2 pieces. The first one has the sun with a calendar all the way around it, and these 4 little earths. You are going to need to cut the 4 little earths off. Unfortunately, I apologize for that. That's such a bummer. But we're going to glue them on the calendar in the correct position where they go. We'll come back to that sheet. Let's start with the other sheet. The other sheet says fall, summer, winter, spring on it. Looks like this. You're just going to cut that box out. You're going to glue the entire back of it and stick it down to your piece of cardstock. It will work either way, but I would say horizontal would probably work better. Horizontal is side to side, or hamburger. Hamburger. Guys, vertical means up and down, horizontal means side to side. So if we put our paper horizontally, we are doing it hamburger. Yes, no. Hot dog, it's hot dog style, sorry. See, I can't even think in terms of hamburger and hot dog. That's something you learn like when you're little, isn't it? What grade did you learn about hamburger and hot dog? Kindergarten, all right, well. And that's because your kindergarten teacher knew that if she said horizontal or vertical, that you would be like, what does that mean? But by 8th grade, I kind of think you should maybe understand what horizontal and vertical is. I don't know. Maybe not. Well, then there's no hope for the world. Okay, so glue it down. It looks like this. Pretty boring, all right? When I printed this, it was in color, like it had a little blue thing with a white snowflake in it. If you want to color those, that's why you might need some crayons or something. You don't have to, but it always looks prettier when you're studying if it's colored, so you can color that. All right, next. You're going to cut out the solid line rectangle on this sheet the whole way around the solid lines. Ignore the little earths. Well, some of you already cut those out, but for now, we're ignoring those earths. Just cut out the big box. This is going to get glued over top of the sheet that we've already glued down. And you're only going to glue it at the edge where the dashed line is. Just sit tight a minute. Let me cut it out. I'll show you. All right. So then you're going to fold the edge where the dashed line is. You're going to fold it up. And then put glue just on that little folded piece the little fold, all right? Glue goes on that edge. Make sure you got lots of glue though, because this is the only thing that's going to be holding this on. Now you take this sheet where you glued it and you're going to glue it right on the edge over here next to where it says fall and winter. You're going to match up the dashed line with the edge that you cut on that bottom piece, so that when you open it, you see that whole bottom, okay? I'll show you on the video here. So it lines up. This edge goes on the side of the inside piece so that you can still see all of the boxes inside here, okay? Now, the outside of this is a calendar, and it has all of the months of the year, and then it has these special little dashed lines. One dashed line comes right through March 20th. One comes through, well, March 21st is not there, but you can tell it's not on the 20th. It's 21st. One goes through September 20th, and one goes through June 21st. Those are important dates on our seasonal calendar, are they not? Yes, they are. So come back to these little Earths that we need to cut out. Try to cut it out as close to the Earth as possible, but I know it has the poles sticking up. So, yeah, you should probably leave the degrees. And you may want to color them, like I said. Because the Earth is always tilted 23.5 degrees. I mean, it doesn't matter where it is in its position in the sky or around the sun, it's always tipped the same. The Earth does not tip. It doesn't like wobble back and forth so that it's like 23.5 degrees and then tomorrow it'll be 0. It doesn't do that. Well, it does. Now we did already talk about the fact that there is something called precession and that the Earth does wobble. However, it takes about 24,000 years or 12,000 years? I don't know. It takes a bunch of thousand of years before it wobbles enough to see a difference. So that's not really going to affect us. The precession wobble of the Earth isn't going to be a problem for us today, okay? Yeah, in the future, our North Pole star, there will be a different North Pole star, all right? But it's going to be at least another 2,000 years before that happens. It wobbles, but it wobbles really slowly. I think it's 24,000 years, but I'd have to look it up to be sure. All right, so I cut mine out. They look shaped sort of weirdly like this. I cut it out from the point around the middle of the globe, and then I left that 23.5 degree on there. Now, if the Earth is always tipped at 23.5 degrees, we have to figure out which one of these goes, which direction it goes to be on the sun for June 21st or for September 20th or December 20th. So like as the Earth moves around the sun, it's always going to stay tipped like this. And it's going to move around just around, but it's always going to stay tipped the same direction. So that means when it's over here and the northern hemisphere, you guys can't see because it's super tiny, but if I have it like this, the northern hemisphere is that way, and if the sun is, say, me, because I'm so bright and shiny, so if the sun is me and the Earth's northern hemisphere is pointing towards you, that means the southern hemisphere is pointing towards me, and that means the southern hemisphere is having summer right now, which means we are having winter, which it's been so lovely here, has it not? Now, when it moves over here, it stays that way. It's still pointing toward you for the northern hemisphere and pointing that way for the southern hemisphere. But notice that it's over there and I'm over here now. I'm the sun, remember? And that means that neither hemisphere is pointing towards me. So that gives us an equinox. And then it moves around so that it's back here. Northern hemisphere is still pointing this way, so now the northern hemisphere is pointing towards me. Southern hemisphere is pointing out towards space. And that means it's summer for the northern hemisphere, right? And then it's going to stay tipped that way, and it's going to come around here. Northern hemisphere still pointing toward you. Southern hemisphere still pointing out towards space. But again, neither hemisphere pointing towards me, the sun, right? So now it's going to be another equinox. This equinox now going from summer, what's the next season after summer? Fall. So fall, neither hemisphere is pointing towards the sun. Now it comes back around here where we started. It's winter for us in the northern hemisphere again. And then it comes back over here where nothing is pointing towards me. And it's now not summer yet. It's spring. Neither hemisphere is pointing at the sun. Comes back around here. Now the northern hemisphere is pointing towards me. Now it's what again? Summer. Now fall. Now winter. Now spring. Now summer. Now fall. Don't forget those ones in between. Now winter again. Okay? So there are times in the Earth's orbit where neither hemisphere is pointing at the sun. It's pointing off towards space and off towards space, the sun being here, okay? Those are our spring and fall times. It's in between winter and summer. Okay, I'm going to explain to you in another day or two what's happening with the sun, because it's really a position in the sky that marks the change of the seasons. The sun is at a certain position in our sky. And that's what the vernal equinox is, what the autumnal equinox is, what the winter and summer solstices are, is a position where the sun is in the sky. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this probably Monday. Okay? So stay tuned. So for now, we're going to take this, and this one, let's start with June 21st. So you want to take this guy and you want to glue him on the calendar so that for June 21st, are we having summer or winter at June 21st? Summer. So you want to glue this so that the northern hemisphere is pointing towards pointing towards the sun on June 21st. So basically, you stick this on here so that the northern hemisphere is pointing towards the sun. The northern hemisphere is pointing towards the sun right there, okay? See that dashed line where it says June 21st? Put it there. Yeah. June 21st is the summer solstice. That is where the Earth is. Now, we come around then and the next one is fall. Neither hemisphere will be pointing toward the sun. So you're going to put this down right on that dashed line. Looks like that. It should still be tilted the same direction as it is in June. Okay? Still tilted the same direction. The northern hemisphere is going that way, southern's that way, but neither one is pointed toward the sun. Okay? Then we take the next one and we leave it pointed that same direction. Don't flip it upside down or anything. Just leave it just like it is. And put it on December 21st on that dashed line. All right? Now, the southern hemisphere is pointing towards the sun. Southern hemisphere towards the sun. Northern hemisphere off towards space. Okay? And that's now winter. Okay? Because we, in the northern hemisphere, we are not getting as much sunlight as the southern hemisphere because the southern hemisphere is toward the sun now. It all has to do with how much sunlight we have. Remember we talked about, I know it was a long time ago, but when we talked about perihelion and aphelion, when we're closest and furthest away from the sun, right? And I told you that we just were closest to the sun at the beginning of January. We had our perihelion in January. And everybody looked at me like, wait a minute, we're closest to the sun in January, but it's wintertime? What? And I told you guys that it has nothing to do with how far or how close we are from the sun. It's because the Earth is tipped in a way that the northern hemisphere is tipped away from the sun. So the southern hemisphere has summer right now when we're at the perihelion, right? Australia, right? So put the last one on in March. Again, it's going to be tipped in such a way that neither hemisphere is going to be pointing toward the sun. Okay? Basically, this is just to show you that the tilt of the Earth doesn't change. It's always tilted, pointing toward the same place in space. What are we always pointing at in space? No, what the North Star, thank you. The northern pole is always toward Polaris. It doesn't change. It's not like one season we're pointed toward the North Star and the other season we're pointed toward Vega or something, right? Okay. Now, if you want to color that, go ahead. But after you're done, you're going to open it up and you're going to put all the characteristics of fall, winter, spring, and summer. You can include temperatures. You can include how long daylight is. You can talk about the positioning of the Earth. I would suggest using the packet you were given yesterday. Okay? Now this will be worth 20 points. Okay? So both assignments for today are going to be, it'll be a total of 25 points. I'll put them in the grade book separately though. Now you guys have got about 7 minutes of class left. If you were working with me, you should have your foldables all put together. This will be due Monday. Okay? This will be due on Monday. Do you have any other questions for me before you leave this class today? Okay, please make sure that your scissors, glue sticks are put back in the bins. If you borrowed crayons, put those back in the bins and make sure that all your paper scraps are cleaned up. We're sure there's no more questions? Have a nice weekend. Thank you.